You may not like this, but I believe that there are 4 very important meetings that every solopreneur should be having at least once a month. But wait a minute. I'm a solopreneur because I don't like holding meetings. Well, these 4 meetings will make you more money. All right, so here's what we're going to do. The reason we're holding these meetings is because they're talking about very specific strategic things that most solopreneurs just ignore. And so by having these meetings, you force the process of thinking about these subjects and of doing the analysis necessary for these meetings. As a result, you start focusing on things that you're not focusing on otherwise. And as a result, you tend to make money. So let me tell you what these 4 meetings are. First off, let me tell you about who should attend. Your key people. But wait a minute, I'm just a company of 1. Well, guess what? Your key people include you. And may I suggest that you will do better if there is at least one other person who attends these meetings. That person can be an employee. It can be your life partner. It can be a coach or a mentor. It can be an accountability partner where you do the same thing for them. I just want to have somebody else in the room to push you, to ask you questions, to help you think through things that maybe you just aren't seeing. That's what makes these meetings valuable. All right, so here we go. I'm going to talk about each of these 4 meetings, what the meeting is, what you're going to talk about, what you're going to do in it. First one is the goals meeting. So this meeting is held once a month, and you talk about your goals. How did we do? Both how did we do on the goals that were ending during that last month, as well as how are we doing towards the goals that maybe are ending at the end of the quarter? In other words, what's our progress? What's our status regarding our current goals? And next, what needs to change to get us to better achieve those goals? Whether we're achieving them higher, whether we're achieving them at all, whether we're achieving them with less effort, whatever. What needs to change to make this happen? And then you look at, all right, what are our new goals for the next period? Are those accurate? Are they still good? All right, so there's your goals meeting. That's probably about an hour to an hour and a half and is definitely worth having. Second meeting is your analytics meeting. This is the one where you look at your numbers. So you look at your site traffic. You look at your email click-throughs. You look at your key pages, whether your key pages are getting the traffic you want them to have. You look at your key objectives, like your landing pages, your opt-in pages, your sales pages, and you look at the conversion rates on those to see if they're getting the numbers that you want to have. And then you create a specific plan to improve those pages. So that specific plan might be, let's do an A/B split test on the headline of this one. Let's come up with another opt-in incentive so that we've got another page to gather opt-ins from, etc. All right, so that's where you look at your numbers and you say, how are we doing in terms of the numbers that drive our business? While we're on the subject of numbers, meeting number 3 is your financials. So here's the one where you're going to sit down with your profit and loss statement, whether you're going to sit down with your balance sheet, maybe your cash flow statement, and you're going to be asking yourself, hey, how's it going? Am I on track to achieve the objectives that I want? Then if you're not, and even if you are, you start looking at things like, okay, how do I increase my income? How do I decrease my expenses so that I can make those financials look better in the future? And then another key bonus of that is if you've been doing the profit first method, you look at, hey, how will we distribute the profit reserves that we have? This one's a nice little addition to that is, okay, we sat down, we got pretty good numbers. All right, we got $4,000 in that profit reserve. How much are we going to put towards savings? How much are we going to put towards salary towards me? Okay. Meeting number 4 is my favorite meeting of the month. It's the happiness meeting. Happiness meeting. What? What company holds a happiness meeting? Well, that's the problem, is the companies aren't having a happiness meeting. So we're asking the question, how happy are we? How happy are we as a person? If you got employees, how happy are our employees? How is this company just something to do all day, or is it contributing to our net happiness? And then next question is, all right, What would improve our happiness? Even if we're happy, what would improve our happiness? Included in that is recognizing that happiness is not just right now, it's into the future. And so the next question is, what's our progress towards our long-term goal? So maybe our long-term goal is that we're exiting the business in 5 years. Maybe our long-term goal is that we want a second major product that we're working on that needs to come online second quarter of a year from now. What's our progress towards that? That's all part of this happiness goal because it's preserving and improving the happiness into the future. Included in this ought to be exit planning. How are we doing towards some kind of exit from our business? Realizing that when you sell your company, it's probably the biggest payday you will have in your entire career. As well as another key piece of the happiness meeting is, hey, what other untapped opportunities are there that I am not currently pursuing? Do I want to? Is that on strategy? What should I do about those? This forces you to actually think about things like, hey, how happy am I? And what can I do to improve that? And finally, in the happiness meeting, what needs to change? What do we need to do differently to improve the overall happiness quotient in our company? So you may have noticed that there are 4 meetings here. That's on purpose. Why? Because my suggestion is that you block out one 90-minute period on the same day each week. So probably not Monday, maybe like Tuesday from 10:30 till noon is going to be your key meetings time. And so each week you have your goals meeting, and then the next week you're going to have your analytics meeting, then your financials meeting, then your happiness meeting, and you just rotate those around during the month. Now, the important thing about these is whatever you do, whether you're doing these meetings once a week, or maybe you do one day a month where you go through all 4 of those meetings, whatever you do, these meetings are non-cancelable. So if you end up on a plane to a conference or something like that, you hold that meeting another time, and you make sure you hold that meeting. One of the key reasons, remember, the reason why we're having these meetings is because we're going to talk about things that we don't usually even think about. Consequently, the big strategic decisions that are usually not even thought about get made, improvement happens, happiness happens, analytics go up, our income goes up, our goals get achieved, and we end up being a better company that we really, really want to work for. That's my suggestion. Those 4 meetings, it's not all that hard. Somebody else you trust in the meeting. If more, you can put more in those meetings. That's great, but at least have 2. That's my recommendation. So what do you think? Can you put these on your calendar for the upcoming year? Is this something that you're interested in doing? If you are, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what your plans are. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.